Hey everybody, I'm Petra with the Rebels Den, and today with me I have Leanna. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so one of the things that I just mentioned in our private conversation is I don't actually know who you are. I know we're connected on Facebook, but I don't know who you are, what you do, and what you're all about. So why don't you share that with us?
Absolutely. I have a marketing company. It's a global marketing agency where we focus on doing social media for companies. We have been in over 19, we've had clients in over 19 countries. We help people who have a really great message communicate with those who need their products or their services or just need to know more information. We've been doing that since 2011. Went through a rebrand earlier this year. We are DeBellevue Global Marketing. Before we were out of the box. So it's been quite a transition. I didn't realize exactly how many people knew us until we rebranded, and people are saying like, "What's going on? Where are you?"
Yeah.
So we're just now getting the message out about our rebrand, which we're very excited about. Um, and that's pretty much what we do. I say that we act as a bridge between the people who have a service and the people who need a service. Sometimes people have problems or difficulties articulating what
Yeah.
the end result is, and they have this amazing offer, and it's just crickets. So we kind
Yeah.
of come in, we work with them, make sure that we understand what it is that they're selling and why. Understanding people's why is a big deal for us.
Mhm.
And then we go out there and we help them find their ideal target market. And that's been extremely rewarding for us. I'm also an author. We have an international bestseller, Light at the End of the Funnel, which is for entrepreneurs. It's entrepreneurial success stories. And I do a lot of speaking, motivational, public speaking. I'm just kind of sharing my story. I think that there's so much power in being able to share stories, real stories, like we were just talking
Yeah.
about, being honest and real. Um, so that's kind of who I am and what we do. I've been very lucky these last 8 years.
So
Just
how did you get started with that? I mean, I do some social media. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I'll do it because I got the training, right? And it brings in my money sometimes. So bridging my own gap in some of my areas. So how did you get started with all of that?
actually, I fell into it. I never thought that I would be in marketing. I never thought about social media. I was actually working for a chiropractor's office, and the insurance laws changed, and we went from making a lot of money to making no money very quickly. And he pulled me aside and said, "I think you would be great at marketing. I need your help. Um, we want to continue being able to serve the community," and asked if I would do marketing. Didn't even know what that meant, but I said, "Sure," right? I'm a team player. I'm all in. And he gave me the budget of $50 a month. And this was back in like 2009, but still wasn't a lot of money. I had no idea what I was going to do with that. Um, and that was a generous $50. Like he was like, "You can have it, but don't spend it," that kind of thing. So I started on social media. It was so-called fan pages back
Yep.
then. And I started posting, and we started getting a few likes, and then I would start introducing different specials, and then I would notice as we ran the specials people would come in, and so I did that for him over the course of 2 years. And in that 2 years we went from having about 2 months of reserve operating expenses to doubling our space to hiring on 4 additional therapists and 4 additional employees, and then we had 20 offsite employees. So we had exponential growth in a very short period of time, all from relatively free to low-cost marketing.
Yeah.
And I discovered that not everybody can do that. Not everyone has that skill set. So he called me in his office one day and said, "I think you need to go do this on your own. People are asking about it. Everyone wants your help. And I think it's a service you can offer." And I was super excited. And then I was like, "Wait a second, like, are you firing me? Like, did I just lose my job? Like, what's going on?" Right. And he said, "Absolutely not. You'll always have a safe place to land, but go try."
I love that. It's so rare, truly, at least in my experience, for bosses, if you will, for like a better word, to say, "Hey, go do this by yourself because you are so amazing at it and you can help so many more people than just us," right? Like that speaks to him as a character. Like I like him already, kind of a thing.
No, 100%. And so I was, to be honest, I was uneducated enough to take the leap, right? Because I think if I had known all the ups and downs, there's no way I would have done it. So I jumped in, and he was right. I was okay. I've
Yeah.
made it since then.
Yeah, it's really fascinating because there's so many, like, at least in my experience, is like when you talk about, well, this is what I want to do, usually business related, taking the leap, taking the faith and going in on your own. Oh, but it's much safer to stay at a job, right? Like you get like, but wouldn't it be more safe to stay there because insurance and retirement, like all the stuff that's probably necessary but boring at the same time. At least to me, it's like, oh, that's no fun being all safe and stuff.
Right.
So it's really fascinating to actually hear that that there's people out there that are like, dude, you're so good at it. Please take the leap and do that. When we generally hear the opposite.
Yeah. And I think as business owners, it is a testament to his character to also be willing to lose that,
Yeah.
because that's bringing him in more money, that's bringing him in more clients, that's he's winning, if you will, right? And so that you're right, it does speak to his character in regards to what he saw in me.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I look back on it, I think I've always meant to I've always I was just born to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I think that entrepreneurs are just a different breed. I think you're either born one or you're not.
Yes.
And because there is a resilience that you have to have. And I think he was able to identify those qualities in me that he saw in himself that he knew. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. Like I'm unemployable at this point, right? Like there's just no way. Like every night I'm like, oh no, I no.
Yeah.
Because there's that certain quality of being, well, first of all, being willing to take the risk, right? To get through that fear. And that fear can um, actually be debilitating for some people that they can't, like they have this idea and this vision, this dream and these goals, but they're just so stuck in that fear, they can't move through
Yeah.
it. No matter how much therapy or coaching or support they're getting, they just can't.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to adapt. I mean, you started in 2011. I started my first business in 2005. WordPress was just becoming a thing, right? Like it was that early stuff. And that was like the internet was still coded on HTML frame web pages. um, and I knew how to do that, and now you're looking at it, there's Squarespace and there's Wix and there's WordPress, like there's all these different things that develop, and you have to stay adaptable. You have to be flexible and learn and be like, oh, I need to learn this new skill. I have to figure out what this is. I have a friend that does Facebook ads. I won't touch them because I'm like, no way. But she has to stay up to date with all of that. So it just speaks to you too, since 2011, of everything that you had to retain and learn and add. So being adaptable to the changes and the fluctuation of money.
That's something that no one tells you. Like, I was so excited to go out on my own, and that first Friday that came where I woke up and I'm used to checking my account and having that direct deposit go in, it wasn't there, and I just stopped in my tracks. But then I got excited about it because, wait, it's on me.
Yeah.
No one's going to stop me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, how great of a job I do. I was making the same amount of money.
Yeah.
If you do a great job on your own, that's going to reward itself.
Absolutely.
And on the same level, if you don't, that's also on you. You know what I mean? So
yeah, which is really empowering. I mean, it's really scary because I literally walked in without a plan B, and going, oh shoot, now what do I do? I guess I don't like the word hustle because that's not how I operate, but I got to hustle and I've got to figure out how to make this work. I got to get the word out there of what I do and all these other things, which can also be, again, go back to that fear, keep you stuck. And then you take the safe way, go back to the job, or you're like, no, I'm going to prove to myself that I can do this, and for some people it's proving it to other people. So that's that's the flip side, because we have some stories and some baggage and some healing or some whatever. We're like, oh no, I'm going to prove that person wrong.
There's something, you brought up an important point. Sometimes staying safe can come from the people we love.
Yes.
That desire. And it's really hard. It's scary enough to go out and to believe enough in yourself to take that next step. But when you have people who you love and care about in your ear saying, aren't you sure you want to stay with that retirement? Doesn't that insurance look good? To be brave enough to say, I love you, and I know you're coming from a place of concern and care, and I appreciate that.
Yes.
But I need you to not,
yes.
so that I can be brave enough to continue taking these steps.
Yes. Which brings us to another point. As parents, we have other kids, people that depend on us, right? And so we get that same thing, like, well, what about the kids? How are you going to feed the kids? Like, what are the kids going to think? And actually, for me personally, I don't know about you, doing this has been the best thing for my kids to see, so that they can pursue what they want to pursue. I'm not one of those parents, oh, you got to go to high school, go to college, get a career. Like, I'm not that parent. I've never been that parent. You graduate high school and then explore the world and figure out what you want to do. Like, take your time. You don't have to figure it out at 18, 20, whatever. Like, you're just not gonna. Some people can't, obviously. Like my youngest, who's with extra needs, he's like, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I'm like, okay. So he's got that. And my oldest, he's in the Army, and that's his thing. And he's like, I'm re-enlisting because that's what I'm passionate about and I want to make a career out of. He's 27. And I'm going, cool. If that's what you want to do, I'm going to support you 100%.
Right.
And I think we want that same support from the people around us.
Exactly.
And that can be challenging to bring up, especially, and I just told a client that we tend to carry other people's fear, not just our own.
Exactly.
Right? We have our own fears, and then we carry the other people's fears on top of that, and we're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Exactly. Sometimes people give you things to fear that you didn't even know, or wasn't even on your radar, and then they bring something up, and now I'm like, okay, great, now I've got something else to kind of, another obstacle to overcome. And what I've learned about myself through this process is that it's okay to be afraid. Mm-hmm. Don't hide it. Don't be ashamed of it. What I do is I look at it and then I ask myself, is this a real fear? Sometimes it is, right? Sometimes it's a legitimate fear. Sometimes it is highlighting an underlying problem or potential problem, right? So I go in and I pick it apart. I dissect it. Okay, if this happens, how do I handle it? If this happens, what do I do? So then I can walk through that fear knowing that I'm prepared, right? Yeah. And of course, that said, guaranteed, I promise you that life is going to throw something that you could have never thought of, right, at you. Yep. But sometimes doing that is what allows me to take that one step. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be a whole journey. Sometimes I just have to get brave enough to take that next step. Yeah. And that's what I do. But
I'm similar. Like, I will even go, well, what have I overcome already? How did I overcome that? And what can I take from that to apply this to this current situation? Right? Like that, I sometimes have to do that just to kind of get through this stuff. At my challenge, English is my second language, so grammar is a little bit of a challenge sometimes, even though I've been here for a while. I'm an author. It took me forever to write that first book because of that, right? And I'm like, so what? And now I'm working on my sixth one because I'm like, my message is bigger than my grammar mistakes, and yay for tools on the internet.
Or, maybe they're just so engulfed in your message that you're not looking at commas and punctuation or, verb tense,
Yeah, so it's also walking through that fear, like, what will other people think, right? Like, I think that's one of the biggest fears I've come across for people is what will other people think? if I'm going to succeed or if I fail. Like it's either that or that. And like, you know, if I fail, they're going to just, well, told you so. And if I succeed, they're going to, I don't know what they're going to do, but they're like, oh, can I borrow the $1,000? I don't know.
Or you get things like, you've changed, or
Yes.
you think you're better than us now, or, you know, your life is perfect. And I know that that's something that I was not prepared for. I took my business, I have a very unique experience. I took my business from $0 to 6 figures in about 5.5 months. That is totally uncommon. There's no secret recipe. It's not something that you can sell. You know what I mean? I think it was divine intervention. I think it was me doing what I was passionate about, and it was what I was meant to step into. That's what I credit all of it to, right?
Yeah. It's that alignment thing. Like if you're literally living in that purpose, everything just becomes easy, and it will just, well, that's been my experience as well. Like if I stand in my purpose and to my mission of what I'm here to do, it just becomes so much easier.
Absolutely.
You know, I was in the online space for quite a few years before I got my first coaching client, and now it's just like, oh, I'm now on point with my message, and they see it, and it's like now it's easy, right? Like it's just easy. But you have to figure that out. If whatever you're passionate about, and also being good at it.
Yeah.
Like
People feel that
you have to marry those two things.
100%, 100%. And I think it's in that experience that I found out that there are people who are, I don't think that they're jealous because they know that they don't have the skill set, but I think it brings out their insecurities, and those get projected onto you.
Yes.
And you as a person have to figure out, wait, this is not, like we were talking about carrying other people's fears. This is not mine to carry.
Yep.
This perception of me, and that's another thing as entrepreneurs we have to watch out for, is making sure that our vision stays true with who we are, not what everyone expects us to be, not what your clients expect. Like if you come at it with authenticity, you know, which took me a long time to learn. I've stumbled so many times on this. People are like, oh, they want, you know, when you're going to pitch, there's someone that goes, oh, you know, I gave them your information and here's what they're looking for. So you try and fit yourself into this mold and it doesn't work.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
long term. So it's really about making sure that you can take those right steps, right?
Yeah. I was like, one of the things that you learn as an entrepreneur, maybe not in the first year or two, boundaries. You're going to be a master at setting boundaries at some point, because you realize, oh, this is what I can share with that particular person, but I can't share this thing with them because of what the energy it creates or the feeling that comes up. Oh, but this person I can go to for literally everything because it doesn't matter, right? Like they're just that person. Oh, and that person, yeah, we're just not going to talk to them. Like,
right?
That happens because you have to start filtering people out that either drag you down, not just energetically, but just, I don't want to call them victims. I'm actually over the word, but they're just the naysayers. Like they can't see that vision. They can't see, they're not dreamers. They don't have the capability of doing that. And so you're just like, you know, you still hang out with them, but you just can't share certain things with them.
I had an amazing mentor, and she taught us something that was really, it changed the way I had relationships with people, especially in business. She said there's 3 types of shares. There's a level 1, which is when you see someone, you know, that maybe you went to high school with in the grocery store. Oh, hi, how are you? Oh, I'm good, right?
Yep.
Then there's level 2, which maybe you go to coffee with the person and they know your kids' names. How are your kids? Oh, they're good. You know, Johnny's in soccer. And oh, how's business? Oh, business is good. And then there's the level 3 share. And that's where you can go all in, and you can call and you can go, you know what, this is hard. Today, I don't want to do this. Yeah. And that person's got your back.
Yeah.
And I think it's really an important skill set for anyone to develop, to understand what level conversations you have. Not all of them can be level 3, right? But someone has to be your level 3, you know?
At least one.
Yeah. Yeah, just one person. And,
And that's the thing, like, my partner is not my level. I mean, I talk to him and I share a lot with him, but he's not necessarily my level 3 person. You know what I mean? And I think that's challenging too, if you're in a relationship with somebody. How much can you share with them? Because their mindset and all their things, he's very happy being in a job. Even I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you could be in a business. Like, I'm like, you could be in business for yourself. And he's like, no. And I'm like, oh, but come on. It'd be great. And he's like, no. So it's important to also, what you can share with your partner. There's, I'm pretty transparent with him, but there's also moments where, I can't share that with, at least not yet. Like, there's a point where I'm like, oh, by the way, this is what I've been working on and this is what I've done. Not like, oh, this is what I'm going to do, because he doesn't understand what I do. I mean, I think he gets it on a one level, but on another level, he's like, I have no idea what you do.
Right.
So it's can be challenging to have the conversations with your partner as well. So, but they can also be very helpful in your relationship. So I feel pretty lucky in that reference.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, most of my level 3 people are other entrepreneurs.
Yep.
Because they know the peaks and the valleys. They know the roller coaster. They know that the moment you're about to give up, your client walks in and saves the day, and then you're happy again, and then they're celebrating with you,
Yep.
And my husband is also has a career path that's, traditional. He works a job. He has the insurance. He has the 401k. He has all these things, right? And to be honest, he is a skilled craftsman. He can do woodworking. He's done the office. He's laid new floor. He's amazing. And I'm like, why don't you do all these things, right? Same as you.
So my guy's like a handyman, jack of all trades. Like, he can do everything. And I'm like, dude, handyman business.
Exactly. Why can't? And the thing about it is, I've learned to appreciate the fact that people are meant to be worker bees. Some people are meant to create, right?
Yes.
He's meant to do his job so that I can soar and fly and do my job.
Yeah.
Because I don't think our family could handle both of us in a valley at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be rough.
Yeah, we have 5 children between the 2 of us. So we've got a lot of responsibility. We have a lot of stuff going on. So I now see his desire to take a path that's more traditional as a blessing. You know what I mean?
And I think it's important that we respect that and accept it. Like, just accept that's their path. You're on a different path, and that's just how it is. And then go on respecting that, right?
Which is way easier said than done.
Yeah, right? And we've been kind of moving around a particular point. Like, we've talked about it before you and I actually got on. It's the mental health challenges we experience. We've hinted on it in a way, but I'm going to call it out. The mental health stuff that we go through, whether it's a day depression or you're actually suffering from something, getting through those crap days. Like, you're waking up and going, I can't show up today. And you're like, oh, but I've got clients I need to show up for. Because that happens. I mean, that's the thing. What's your take and how do you move through it?
I think as I've become established, I've realized that I have to look to mentors and coaches all the time for continual growth, because you don't know what you don't know, right? Yeah. And I don't know if you're familiar with Mel Robbins and her 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yep.
Honestly, that gets me through more things than anything.
I love that one.
Yeah, like, just do it. I can't allow myself. I'm an achiever. I'm successful. I'm the queen of overthinking. Mm-hmm. I will overanalyze, and I will give you 1,000 reasons why something won't work, even though I know in my heart that it will, right? So on those hard days when I don't want to get up, I just tell myself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah.
And I'm up. And then once I'm standing up, then I not to get back in bed. Yeah. And I can myself to go take a shower. Okay, I've taken a shower. I've done, you know what I mean? So I built little tiny successes.
Yep.
Into that motivation that's going to get me doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
But to be honest, sometimes you just need a day. And understanding that that's okay too. Granted, if you have responsibilities, if you've got people counting on you, if you have deadlines, like you said, you're a writer. If you've got a publisher that's waiting for something, you can't really say, I'm going to take a day. I mean, you can, but there's consequences that go with
There
that,
is.
right?
Yep.
So sometimes if I've had, if I'm having a day and I'm pushing myself through it, I'll look at my calendar and be like, okay, it's Tuesday. I'm booked solid on Tuesday, but on Thursday right now, I don't have anything. So, I coach myself. I talk to myself, Leanna, like, get through today and tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and get this,
Yeah.
And when it's hard, I'm like, okay, I just have another half day. I have another day. You know what I mean? I have another 3 hours, and then I'm out.
Yeah.
And so allowing yourself that space is okay. And no one tells you that. Everyone tells you have to hustle. You can't stop. Push, push, push. No. Like,
Yeah.
we're human. We weren't put on this earth, I don't think, to work 24/7. We
Yeah.
need
I don't
that
believe that either.
feel, you know?
Yeah. Uh, I do similar. I actually like roll out of bed and I'm ready to go, but that's just my personality. Like, but there's, I'm like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, oh, I just can't do, but I have a project to finish, and I'm just like, oh my god, I gotta get to this project. But then I give myself something to look forward to, right? Like I'm an avid reader. I also exercise quite regularly. I have soccer games that I go to. So there's things that I'm like doing outside of the entrepreneur where I'm like, what can I do to sort of reward myself for making it through this day, even if I'm frustrated or stuck, or can I take a nap? Like, do I have space to maybe take a quick nap and then continue working, right? Like, whatever. I think it's really important that we figure out what self-care looks like for ourselves, because here's transparency. I don't do makeup. I don't do pedicures, manicures, or any of that feminine stuff that they say, oh, as a female, you need to be doing. I'm like, that doesn't appeal to me. So what does appeal to me, right? Laying in my bed reading a book and just not paying attention to work. That's appeals to me. Or going for a run, just going for a run.
Yeah.
That's for me, that's often brings the greatest shifts for me. I think it's really important that we figure out, this is going to work for me, but then have that process and maybe even tape it to your wall. Like, she's not kidding about the 5-second rule book. It was when I read that, well, I listened to it to the audio, and I was just like, oh my god, yes, yes.
I need things that are tangible. I need things that are, you can do mindset work, and, you can think to yourself, oh, I'm going to manifest, like, and that's great. I believe in all that. I believe that it's a full circle, that there's so many different aspects, right? But like you said, you have to find what works for you. And
Yeah,
what works for me are tiny tips. I don't need some huge diatribe of things that I have to do and sit there and take 2 hours every morning to prepare. I need one simple thing that's going to start, and once I get started, that, then I can carry on. But, so many people are talking about self-care, and I'm glad that they're talking about it. But like you just said, people say, go get a pedicure, go get a massage, go get the, if you're not that person, now how do you feel? So what is one thing,
yeah,
so maybe the conversation is self-care needs to be developed within yourself, hence the term, right? How do you know that you need to care for yourself? And set time on your schedule, especially entrepreneurs. We give and we give and we give and we push and we push and we push, and we dry out. Our cup is empty. What do we have to give from? So if you look at self-care as a way to benefit your potential clients or customers, because when I'm full, I can give 100%.
mm-hmm.
When I'm not and I'm depleted, I don't give any. I give much less. What do I want my message to be? If you look at it from that perspective,
Yep.
then it becomes a building block to a business. Self-care is one of the building blocks to growth.
Yeah, absolutely. It was my initial struggle. It's like, oh, you need to do self-care, and these are the things for self-care. And I'm going, I hate all of those things. What? And then it became like, oh, what's wrong with me, right? And that's been a challenging for me, because I don't know about your world, but in my world, oh, you need to lead with the feminine. I'm going, but I'm a very masculine energy. Like, I don't know how to do that. And I'm in that productivity, which they refer to as masculine. Hey, by the way, it's okay to be that. You don't like be you, whatever that you is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Why make excuses or apologize for it? Yeah.
yeah. So, well, that was a fantastic conversation, Leanna. I am so grateful for the topics we've covered because I think they're important, because they can also be applied for non-entrepreneurs, for anybody listening and watching, is because even when we're in a job or parents or anything like that, mental health, self-care, setting boundaries, allowing certain people in your space is important in all areas of your life. So thank you for this conversation. So with that being said, people want to connect with you, find out more about you or anything like that, where can they go and do that?